meeting. Thank you to everyone for dialing in. This is only the second virtual council meeting I've done, so some of you might be more experienced than me, maybe not. We'll start with apologies for absence, which is, as I've just said, I've got a list of names. I'll go down the names, unmute, say that you're present, and then we'll do the next name. So we'll start with the councillors. Councillor Campbell.
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. Councillor Sesford.
Yes, I'm here. Present.
Councillor Dickinson. Scott Dickinson. No. Councillor Dunn.
I have apologies from Councillor Dunn.
Fair enough. Councillor Lang.
I'm here, yes.
Great. Councillor Stewart.
Here, Chair.
Councillor Stowe. Ken.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. And Councillor Swinburne. Mark Swinburne, I know you're there.
Your microphone isn't picking up, Councillor Swinburne, so you may need to change your settings and switch across to the headset on the microphone.
Right. Any joy, Mark?
I can confirm that Councillor Swinburne is present. I can see him on the video feed.
Right. We'll just carry on, and then in the meantime, he can try and sort his microphone out. Councillor Wallace. Is he not here? Right, he's not here. That's fine. Right, then we've got Mr. Hodgson from the church.
Present.
Great stuff. Yeah. Reverend Lennox. David, can you say you're present?
You need to unmute your microphone, Reverend, to be able to speak.
Well, we know he's here. And Paul Ricard.
I'm here now on screen as well.
Good stuff. And we've got Mr. Parkin. This is the union reps.
Mrs. Parkin.
Miss Parkin, sorry.
It's all right. I've been called worse. You off.
You should be used to this. It's like being back at school.
Absolutely.
Mr. Payne. And Mr. Sanderson. Yeah. And then finally, Councillor Daly from the Cabinet.
I am here, Chair. Thank you.
Good stuff. Right, we can move on. The minutes of the previous meeting held on Thursday, the 5th of March. Does anyone have any issues they want to raise with that?
Agreed.
Agreed. That's fine. Disclosure of members' interest. Any of you have any interests to do with the items on the agenda? No. Good. Right. We'll move on to we've only got one item on the agenda today, so it shouldn't take long to get through. It's something that we've talked about a lot at Facts Committee over the last couple of months. It is the outcome of statutory consultation on a proposal to close West Woodburn First School, and I believe Kath McAvoy-Carr is speaking on this one. Are you, Kath?
No, I'm going to
That's fine. Take it
Okay,
away.
so I got feedback from Kath. Yes, this report outlines the results of the statutory consultation process undertaken by the council in relation to the proposed closure of West Woodburn First School, with effect from the 31st of August 2020. This consultation has come about as the school currently has no pupils on roll and hasn't received any applications for a place in reception class in September 2020. Sorry. Consultation, sorry. Few technical issues. At the meeting on the 10th of March 2020, Cabinet approved the publication of a statutory proposal to close West Woodburn First School with the effect of the 31st of August 2020. The consultation ran from the 12th of March to midnight on the 19th of April, and during this time people were asked to write in to respond to this consultation. During this time there has been one representation received within the 4 weeks statutory consultation period. This submission was from a member of the public who was neither a governor, a parent or a child, nor a member of staff at any of the schools in the Hayden Bridge Partnership. The full response is contained within the report on pages 3 to 10, together with commentary on each of the points raised. But the respondent objected to the proposal to close West Woodburn First School on the grounds that the school was already shut, that he had no role and therefore could be declared closed now rather than wait until the start of the new school term. West Woodburn, as you'll be aware as FACS members, have been subject to 4 consultations since January 2018. 3 have been initiated by the council in relation to the organisation of the school, and 1 by the governing body of West Woodburn and Otterburn Primary Schools in relation to a hard federation. It's clear that the local parents in West Woodburn already had doubts about the provision at the school, as no children joined the reception class in 2018, in spite of 5 children actually living in the catchment area, and only 1 child joined in September 2019, and that child has since left the school. There continues to be a decline in the number of children as well that are being born in the West Woodburn catchment area, with only 1 or 2 children being born each year for the next 4 years. And at some point in the near future, this would have caused concerns about the viability of the school. However, through the removal of all the children that had attended the school over the past 12 months, and in particular since the hard federation with West Woodburn and Otterburn, it is clear that the parents do not have the confidence in the education provision in the school, whether or not that is founded on fact, and they are unhappy with the federation of their community school with Otterburn, and without the support of the local parents, unfortunately, West Woodburn is unviable. West Woodburn is also categorised as a rural primary school within the guidance set out to decision makers, and therefore there are 5 additional tests that we need to be sure of when proposing closure or making the decision to propose closure. So the first is an alternative to closure, including federation. Again, the response to that is set out on page 13 of the report and talks about the federation of West Woodburn, which was implemented but clearly not supported by the local community. We also need to discuss transport implications and be fully aware of those. So again, those issues are set out on page 13 and 14 of the report, and that also includes the increase in the transport budget of £26,600 that would provide transport for the children to Bellingham for their schooling there. The size of the school and whether it puts children at an education disadvantage is also an item that needs to be expressed and looked at. Therefore, the size of the school is set out on page 11 of the report in paragraph 6 and 7, and the education performance is also set out on page 12 in paragraphs 11, 12 and 13. And paragraph 14, which also highlights some of the parental concerns of the education experience of their children. The overall and long-term impact on the community also needs to be assessed, and again the detail on this is set out on page 14 in paragraph 12. And the implications for buildings is also set out in paragraphs 28 on page 16. And it should also be noted that the buildings are not used for any community facility within the village. And then we also need to consider the wider school organisation and capacity of the good schools in the area to accommodate the displaced pupils. The implications again are set out in paragraphs 22 and 23, which confirms there are capacity at 3 of the local schools that are all good. Therefore, Cabinet has been asked to approve the statutory proposal to close West Woodburn First School as set out in the statutory proposal. That's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Councillor Daly, anything to add?
Chair, I think members need to be aware that this is your deliberations this morning are going to be coming to Cabinet this afternoon at 2 p.m. So really what I want to use my time on this particular scrutiny committee is to listen to the observations of members, with obviously the fact that I'll be taking this paper this afternoon to Cabinet with the comments which come from this morning's meeting. I do want to raise one thing, if I can, before it's open to debate, and it's for Helen, who's our legal representative on the scrutiny this morning, and it relates to page 10 of the report, if members could turn to that. And it's specifically on a typo error which happened in the original report. So the original report was very clear. It was around a proposal to close West Woodburn, and that was referenced, I think, 6-7 times within the report. But within that report, there was a typo error where it said to increase the age range of West Woodburn. Now that has been addressed on page 10 in the commentary by the council. So number one, I just want to make it clear that everyone does understand this is a proposal to close West Woodburn. It's very clear in the commentary that people that is what we're doing. But I just want really clarity from Helen that she is confident that based on everything that we've done, all the media reports, and it has been heavily covered in the media, that this is a proposal to close, that she is confident that this would not in any way, shape or form cause any issue in terms of the decision that you Cabinet is about to make this afternoon, based also on your recommendations as well.
Thank you, Wayne. Have a comment from the legal officer there?
Helen, we can't hear you speaking at the moment. You might need to just check your microphone settings.
There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much. Yes, Chair, I think I'd just like to echo what has been said in the report already. I think it's very clear that this is a typo. I think there were 7 references within the statutory proposal to closure rather than extending the age range, and reference to extending the age range is only at the very end of the report. I think, you know, while there's always scope for challenge, you know, I think that the prospects of success of such a challenge would probably be very slim. Basically, as I say, because of the matters contained within the report, that it's very clear that this is a typo.
Thank you, Helen. That was my phone, sorry.
Sorry.
Right, I'll open it up to questions from the committee. I can see Councillor Stewart waving, but I'll go first. My question to Sue is just, I mean, the closure of the school seems fairly obvious. There's no children. What are the plans for the actual school estate, the physical school buildings? Will the council just be selling them off, or? Do we have any plans for them? I think it's Sue frozen. Kath, could you answer that? Or?
Yeah, we've got more immediate plans in relation to what will happen with the selling of the property, but nobody from the community came forward with any suggestions or offers about what they might like to do with the building. But we will be handing that to our asset management team to think about what they might want to do with that in the future, or what opportunities there might be for the future. And obviously, we're always willing to listen to whatever the community might suggest going forward.
Yeah, that's fair enough. We've seen a few small first schools in villages close, and then the community decide they want to do things with them, but it's too late because they've been sold off, or changes have been made. So, just want to make that point that we are going to listen to the community if they want to use that building, rather than just flogging it off. Councillor Gordon Stewart, you had your hand up.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to the officers as well. That was one point I was going to make there. It's an area I know well, and it's obviously difficult to make decisions in relation to school closures. It's very sensitive issues in the area. This process is simplified a great deal. Usually we consult with the children, hear their concerns, the parents, the governors, the staff, and the wider community. But all these points have been clarified very well by the officers there today. I note the designation of rural primary. I also note the issues in relation to finance about the school transport plan and the preferred options by the parents. I've also looked at the Ofsted for the schools in the area. I've gone through each and every one of those Ofsteds to make sure that, in my view, they have all recently been Ofsteded. From 2017, the last one was in 2019. I note the typo error. It's clear that it is a typo error, and I've got no hesitation in recommending to the Cabinet the closure of this school.
Thank you, Gordon. Would anyone else like to comment? You can put your hands up. No. Okay, well, it is a fairly straightforward one. The report's very well written. We've been through this before. Recommendations to Cabinet are set out on page 1. So there's 5 recommendations. I'm not going to read them out to you. You can see what they are. Just with a show of hands, are we happy to pass this report on to Cabinet with no additional comments? Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on. The only other thing is any urgent business. There isn't any. So,
Chair,
yeah.
could I jump in if that's all right with you? It would be remiss of me, given the fact that this is the first time that we've actually come together since we've had the lockdown, and particularly the closure of schools from the 23rd of March onwards. So I just wanted to use this opportunity to say a massive thank you to all of our schools, the support staff, the teaching staff, the cleaners, the kitchen staff, everyone who's come together to actually ensure that we have an offer to our key workers and to our vulnerable children in terms of being able to physically go to school, and also to the schools who have done a fantastic job in terms of getting homework out, a horrible word, homework out to young people, either if that's in paper form or online. It was a very short window of time that schools had to deal with this, and they have absolutely stepped up to the plate. And I just think it would be absolutely the appropriate time here, given the fact that I have the report from yesterday. So, for example, and I think this is really useful to know, we had 147 schools operating yesterday, and schools and alternative providers, and 1,376 young people attending. Last week we had over 1,400. The numbers fluctuate, but nevertheless, these are key workers, vulnerable children, for whom this is a really important service. And a huge thank you to every single one of our settings, early years, schools, everyone, because they have done a phenomenal job. That's all I wanted to say, Chair.
Thank you, Wayne. I'm sure we'd all agree with that. It'll be interesting when all this is died down. I'm sure we'll get some quite detailed reports into the Facts Committee as to how it all went on and what went well and what went badly. And if we have that, then, you know, if this ever happens again, hopefully it won't happen again, then we'll be ready to go. So it'll be interesting to have all that data after the event. Okie doke. Right, I haven't got a date for the next meeting. Leslie, could you shine some light on that, or Chris maybe actually, what is going to be our procedures going forward?
Well, you and I are meeting on Thursday to discuss the work programme going forward, but I think we'll start to go back to some sense of normality, albeit virtual meetings, for June and July with the work programme. But we'll discuss that on Thursday and we'll let the committee know.
Yeah, that's spot on. Thank you, Chris. All right then, thank you to everyone for taking part in the meeting. You can now log out and get on with the rest of your day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.